The 29th session of the Senate and the first regular session of the 19th Congress is hereby called to order. We'd like to ask our majority leader to lead the chamber in prayer, Senator Joel Villanueva.
Let's put ourselves in the presence of the Lord. Heavenly Father, we come to you, humbling ourselves, knowing without you we can do nothing. You said in your word that if there are 2 or 3 gathering together in your name, you are in their midst. So we honor you and praise you for this wonderful time and opportunity you have given us to be gathered in this August chamber and serve our purpose as people's representative in the government. We pray for your wisdom, divine strength, and favor to be upon all of us. Bless every member of this August chamber, every staff, employees of the Senate, and into your hands we commend everything as we open our session today in fulfilling our divine purpose in life to serve you and our countrymen fully. We love you and praise you as we carefully give back to you all the glory, all the honor and praise. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. And
Amen.
Thank you.
Let us remain standing for the singing of the Philippine National Anthem.
Bayang mag-ibig, danas ng silanganan, alam na puso, sa sadyang mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tulad ka ng mag-ibig, sa manlulubi, di ka pasisihil, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong baka, may dilagang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kislap ng watawan mo'y tagumpay na nagdidilig, ang bituin ng araw niyang kailan pa may di magdidilim. Lupa ng araw na luwalhating pagsinta, buhay ang langit sa piling mo. Ang ligaya dapat may mga aping, ang mamatay lang dahil sa'yo.
Secretary, please call the roll.
Roll call of members. The Honorable Senator Angara, Senator Binay, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Lapid, Senator Legarda, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pimentel, Senator Poe, Senator Revilla, Senator Tolentino, Senator Tulfo, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Cynthia, Senator Villar Mark, the Senate President.
With 21 senators present, the chair declares the presence of a quorum. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we defer with the approval of the journal of the 28th session, November 8, 9, 10, 14, 15, 16, and 17, 2022, as it is still being finalized. I so move, Mr. President.
There being no objection to the motion, motion is approved.
President, I move that we proceed with the reference of business.
Before we proceed with the reference of business, I would just like to thank each and every senator that helped and participated during the budget deliberations the last 2 weeks. I noticed when we passed budgets in previous Congresses, particularly the 17th and 18th Congress, we would end before 12 and practically we'd have 6 or 7 senators left on the floor. But this time, even at 2:30 in the morning, we would have 16 to 17 members present. And I thank all of you for your diligence, patience, perseverance, and of course, your hard work for helping pass the budget. But most especially, Majority Floor Leader, my dear colleagues, I want to thank the Secretariat, headed by the SecGen Bantug, our Deputy Secretaries. Tingnan mo naman, si DepSec Belen, ano na yan, pero
Black po
veterano.
yung buhok niya noon, black.
Black
Nagsimula
pag-umpisa, dating puti
budget
na.
hearing.
But we'd like to thank all the members of the Secretariat and the staff of our senators for a job well done. I just wanted to put that on record early this
Yes,
day.
Mr. President, and perhaps
you.
it's also noteworthy that we were able to conduct 12 hours straight, 16 hours straight of budget deliberation last week, Mr. President. And before we proceed, Mr. President, I'd like to just acknowledge the son of our good friend, Senator JV, Emilio Ejercito, is in the House, Mr. President. Just wanted to acknowledge and put that on record.
To our possible future senator of the Republic, welcome to your Senate, Mr. Emilio Ejercito.
Yes, I move for the previous question, Mr. President, and proceed with the reference of business.
We'd like to, with no objection, motions approved. Please proceed, Secretary.
Bills on first reading. Senate number 1411, declaring Barangay Tala in Orani, Bataan an ecotourism zone and appropriating funds therefore. Senator Marcos.
Referred to Committees on Tourism, Environment, Natural Resources, and Finance.
1412, declaring Pilis Falls in Barangay Palili, Samal, Bataan an ecotourism site and appropriating funds therefore. Senator Marcos.
Referred to Committees on Tourism, Environment, Natural Resources, and Finance.
1413, separating the seizures of Ileb, New Colayo Village, Kinama, and Nambarandaya from Barangay Nambaran, City of Tabuk, Kalinga, and constituting them into a separate and independent barangay to be known as Barangay Nambaran East. Senator Marcos.
Referred to Committees on Local Government, Electoral Reforms, and People's Participation.
1414, dividing Barangay Adams in the Municipality of Adams, Ilocos Norte, into 3 distinct and independent barangays to be known as Barangay Adan, Barangay Bucarot, and Barangay Malasin. Senator Marcos.
To the Committee on Rules.
1415, providing for assistance fund for overseas Filipino workers and for other purposes. Senator Villar M.
To the Committee on Migrant Workers and Finance.
1416, safeguarding the health of Filipino mothers at the time of their childbirth, providing protective mechanism therefore and for other purposes. Senator Villar M.
To the Committee on Health and Demography, Local Government.
1417, mandating all barangays to create a registry of professionals and skilled workers and for other purposes. Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Labor and Employment and Local Government.
1418, declaring the first day of February of every year as National Hijab Day and promoting an understanding of the Muslim tradition of wearing a hijab. Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Cultural Communities, Muslim Affairs,
One
Women,
for-
Children, and Family Relations.
1419, providing protection to freelancers and for other purposes. Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Labor and Employment.
1420, declaring the 16th day of May of every year a special working holiday to be known as National Education Support Personnel Day. Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Basic Education and Higher Technical Vocational Education.
1421, strengthening the military and uniform personnel pension system, creating the Military and Uniform Personnel Insurance Fund, amended sections 3 and 24 of RA 8291 and for other purposes. Senator Revilla Jr.
Referred to Committees on National Defense, Government Corporations, Ways and Means, and Finance.
1422, establishing the Negros Island region and for other purposes. Senator Revilla Jr.
Referred to Committees on Local Government and Finance.
1423, strengthening the national preparedness and response to disasters, pandemic, and public health emergencies, creating a medical reserve corps, therefore, and for other purposes. Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Health, Demography, and Finance.
1424, protecting consumers and merchants engaged in internet transactions, creating for this purpose the E-Commerce Bureau, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes. Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Trade and Commerce and Finance.
1425, converting and expanding Leyte Industrial Development Estate into the Leyte Ecological Industrial Zone, creating for this purpose the Leyte Ecological Industrial Zone Authority, appropriating funds therefore. Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Economic Affairs, Environment, Natural Resources, Ways and Means, and Finance.
1426, creating the Eastern Visayas Development Authority, defining its powers and functions, providing funds therefore. Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Government Corporations, Economic Affairs, and Finance.
1427, creating the Philippine Center for Disease Control and Prevention, defining its powers and functions, appropriating funds and for other purposes. Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Health, Demography, and Finance.
1428, rationalizing the economic and administrative regulation of water utilities, creating the Water Regulatory Commission, providing funds therefore and for other purposes. Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Public Services, Civil Service, Government Reorganization, and Finance.
1429, granting benefits to public and private healthcare workers. Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Health, Demography, Ways and Means, and Finance.
1430, instituting policies for the protection and welfare of caregivers in the practice of their profession. Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Labor and Employment.
1431, providing for free freight services in the transportation of relief goods to calamity-stricken areas. Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Public Services.
1432, regulating the catching, sale, purchase, possession, transportation, importation, exportation of all sharks, rays, and chimeras on any part thereof in the country, Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Agriculture, Food and Agrarian Reform, Environment, and Natural Resources.
1433, granting additional privileges to persons with disabilities, amending for the purpose RA 7277, and appropriating funds therefore by Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Social Justice, Ways and Means and Finance.
1434, requiring all national, regional, and provincial government hospitals to establish, operate, and maintain a dialysis ward or unit in their respective hospital and providing free dialysis treatment to indigent patients, Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committees on Health, Demography, Social Justice, Ways and Means and Finance.
1435, exempting micro-insurance policies from value-added tax, tax on life insurance premiums, and documentary stamp tax, amending for the purpose sections 108, 109, 123, 183 to 187 of the NIRC as amended, Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Ways and Means.
1436, establishing an online death verification system under the Philippine Statistical Authority, thereby ensuring government efficiency and facilitating the administration of justice by strengthening the fraud, detection, prevention, and elimination capability of the government, Senator Estrada.
To the Committees on Economic Affairs, Science and Technology, and Finance.
1437, institutionalizing a results-based national evaluation policy, Senator Estrada.
To the Committee on Economic Affairs and Finance.
1438, providing a framework to protect and promote the right to adequate food, Senator Estrada.
To the Committees on Justice, Human Rights, and Finance.
1439, establishing the Philippine National Public Park System, appropriating funds therefore, Senator Estrada.
To the Committees on Tourism, Civil Service, and Ways and Means and Finance.
1440, instituting policies for the protection and welfare of caregivers and the practice of their profession, Senator Estrada.
To the Committee on Labor and Employment, and Human Resource Development.
1441, institutionalizing the poverty reduction through social entrepreneurship program and promoting social enterprises with the poor as primary stakeholders, Senator Estrada.
To the Committees on Trade and Commerce, Social Justice, and Finance.
1442, an act amending Section 8 of RA 10699, thereby providing equal cash incentives to national athletes and athletes with disabilities who win medals in international sports competitions, Senator Estrada.
The Committee on Sports.
1443, integrating the teaching of the 1987 Philippine Constitution in the secondary education curriculum of all public and private educational institutions, Senator Estrada.
To the Committee on Basic Education.
1444, mandating of submission of tree planting plan as requirement in the application for building permits, Senator Estrada.
To the Committee on Environment, Natural Resources, and Local Government.
1445, declaring the 16th day of May of every year as a special working holiday to be known as the National Education Support Personnel Day, Senator Estrada.
To the Committees on Basic Education and Higher Tech Vocational Education.
1446, making automated teller machines accessible to visually impaired individuals, Senator Villar M.
To the Committees on Banks, Financial Institutions, and Currencies, and Social Justice, Welfare, and Rural Development.
Resolution, PS-RES number 266, urging the appropriate Senate committee to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the reported upsurge in cholera cases in the country, with the end in view of reviewing existing policies and strengthening laws to prevent and mitigate the outbreak of the disease, Senator Estrada.
To the Committee on Health and Demography.
Committee report number 11, prepared and submitted jointly by the Committees on National Defense, Security, Peace, Unification, and Reconciliation, and Finance on Senate number 1480, with Senators Estrada and Angara as authors thereof, entitled An Act Rationalizing the Disability Pension of Veterans, amending for the purpose RA 6948, an act standardizing and upgrading the benefits for military veterans and their beneficiaries as amended, recommending its approval in substitution of Senate numbers 683 and 911. Sponsor, Senator Estrada.
To the calendar for ordinary business. There's additional reference to business.
Yes, sir. Additional reference of business, resolutions. Resolution numbers 267, expressing sincere condolences of the Senate of the Philippines on the death of a Filipino music icon, Daniel Danny Morales Javier, Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Rules.
268, commending Kimberly Ann Custodio for winning gold in the 2022 JJIF Jiu-Jitsu World Championship in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Rules.
269, recognizing and congratulating Carlos Yulo for his outstanding performance at the 51st Federación Internacional de Artistic Gymnastics World Championship, Senator Villanueva.
Referred to Committee on Rules.
270, recognizing and congratulating Maggie Ochoa and Kimberly Ann Custodio for their outstanding performance at the 2022 Jiu-Jitsu International Federation World Championship, Senator Villanueva.
To the Committee on Rules.
271, commending Filipina Giju Jutera, Meji Ochoa for winning gold in the 2022 JJIF Jiu-Jitsu World Championship in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates, Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Rules.
272, resolution congratulating and commending Filipina beauty queen and actress Kylie Versosa for winning Best Actress at the 2022 Distinctive International Arab Festivals held in Dubai, UAE, Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Rules.
273, honoring and commending Filipino gymnast Carlos Yulo for his triumphs in the 51st Federation International de Artistic Gymnastics World Championship held in Liverpool, United Kingdom, Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Rules.
274, congratulating, commending the General Santos City Jail male dormitory team for competing and winning in the second Intercontinental Online Chess Championship for prisoners, Senator Lapid.
To the Committee on Rules.
275, congratulating, commending the Masuni Geo Reserve for winning the 2022 BETT Award for Sustainability Initiative, Senator Lapid.
To the Committee on Rules.
276, congratulating and commending Filipino gymnast Carlos Yulo for his successful run at the 51st FIG Artistic Gymnastics World Championship, Senator Lapid.
To the Committee on Rules.
277, congratulating, commending Filipino Jiu-Jitsu athletes Kimberly Ann Custodio, Meggy Ochoa, and the rest of the Philippine team for their successful run at the 2022 JJIF Jiu-Jitsu World Championship, Senator Lapid.
To the Committee on Rules.
278, congratulating and commending Dagupan's Bonoan Bukig National High School for winning the 2022 World Best School Prize for Environmental Action, Senator Lapid.
To the Committee on Rules.
279, calling for the appropriate Senate committee to conduct an inquiry into improving the standards of maritime education in the Philippines for the purpose of promoting safety at sea and complying with the Philippines' commitments under the International Convention on Standards of Training, Certification, and Watchkeeping for Seafarers, Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committee on Migrant Workers.
280, directing the Committee on Cultural Communities and Muslim Affairs to conduct an inquiry on whether the right to stay in the territories under RA 8371 was complied with in the relocation of the Teduray tribe and possibly amending RA 8371, Senator Padilla.
To the Committee on Cultural Communities and Muslim Affairs.
281, congratulating and commending Carlos Yulo for winning 1 silver medal and 1 bronze medal in the 51st Federation International de Artistic Gymnastics World Championship held in Liverpool, England on November 6, 2022, Senator Villar C.
To the Committee on Rules.
282, congratulating and commending Kimberly Ann Custodio for winning a gold medal in the 2022 Jiu-Jitsu International Federation World Championship in Dubai, UAE on 2 November 2022, Senator Villar C.
To the Committee on Rules.
283, resolution recognizing and commending the outstanding women in the Nation Service Towns 2022, Senator Angara.
To the Committee on Rules.
284, congratulating and commending Filipina journalist Carmina Constantino for being named the 2022 Marshall McLuhan Fellow for Excellence in Journalism, Senator Lapid.
Committee on Rules.
285, congratulating and commending chess prodigy Bince Rafael Operiano for winning the 6th Eastern Asia Youth Chess Championship in Bangkok, Thailand, Senator Villanueva.
To the Committee on Rules.
286, recognizing and congratulating Aliyah Ayel Aguilar for her outstanding performance at the Abu Dhabi World Jiu-Jitsu Championship, Senator Villanueva.
To the Committee on Rules.
287, recognizing and congratulating Rafael Nepomuceno for his outstanding performance at the Asian Senior Championship, Senator Villanueva.
To the Committee on Rules.
288, recognizing and congratulating Carlo Paalam for his outstanding performance at the 2022 Asian Elite Men and Women Boxing Championship, Senator Villanueva.
To the Committee on Rules.
289, congratulating, commending Carlo Paalam, Nesty Petesio, and Herji Bakyadan for honoring the country with a gold and 2 bronze medals at the 2022 Asian Boxing Confederation Elite Boxing Championship in Amman, Jordan, held from October 30 to November 13, 2022, Senator Zubiri.
To the Committee on Rules.
290, congratulating and commending Filipino bowling legend Rafael Nepomuceno for capturing the gold medal at the 16th Asian Senior Championship, Senator Lapid.
To the Committee on Rules.
291, congratulating and commending Team Philippines for their successful run at the 2022 ASBC Asian Elite Boxing Championships and Carlo Paalam for winning the gold medal in the bantamweight division, Senator Lapid.
Committee on Rules.
292, congratulating and commending Carlos Edriel Yulo for honoring the country with silver and bronze medals at the 2022 World Gymnastics Championships at the M&S Bank Arena in Liverpool, UK, held from October 29 to November 6, 2022, Senator Zubiri.
To the Committee on Rules.
293, congratulating and recognizing Filipino chess prodigy Bince Rafael Operiano for being the champion in the 6th Eastern Asia Youth Chess Championship held in Bangkok, Thailand, Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Rules.
294, congratulating the Philippines' youngest jiu-jitsu champion, Aliyah Ayel Aguilar, for winning in the 2022 World Youth Jiu-Jitsu Championship held in Abu Dhabi, UAE, Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Rules.
295, congratulating and recognizing World Bowling Rafael Villarreal Nepomuceno for being the champion in the men's single 65-plus division of the Asian Senior Bowling Championship held in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Rules.
296, commending Filipino Olympian and boxer Carlo Paalam for winning gold medal in the men's 54-kilogram bantamweight class at the 2022 Asian Boxing Confederation Elite Men and Women Boxing Championships held in Amman, Jordan, Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Rules.
297, commending Filipino boxer Herji Tawag Baktiadan for winning bronze medal in the women's 75-kilogram middleweight class at the 2022 Asian Boxing Confederation Elite Men and Women Boxing Championships held in Amman, Jordan, Senator Revilla Jr.
The Committee on Rules.
298, commending Filipino Olympian and boxer Nesty Alcaide Petesio for winning bronze medal in the women's 57-kilogram featherweight class at the 2022 Asian Boxing Confederation Elite Men and Women Boxing Championships held in Amman, Jordan, Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Rules.
299, congratulating and commending Filipino host and dancer Billy Joe Ledesma Crawford for being the grand winner of the 12th season of the Dance Avele Stars, Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Rules.
300, directing the appropriate Senate committee to conduct an inquiry into the reported large-scale land reclamation projects being undertaken on a nationwide scale in the Philippines that threaten coastal and marine ecosystems around the country, Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Urban Planning and Housing, Environment, Natural Resources, and Climate Change.
301, commending the cast and crew of the film Ang Kontrabida, The Villain, for winning the Network for the Promotion of Asia Pacific Cinema Prize for Best Asian Film at the 6th Hanoi International Film Festival, Senator Revilla Jr.
To the Committee on Rules.
302, creating a select oversight committee on intelligence and confidential funds, programs, and activities by Senator Zubiri.
To the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader, before we take up official business, I would just like to recognize that we have in the gallery the appointed chairman of the Commission on Appointments, Mr. Liel Cordova is here with us today, and we'd like to welcome him. I believe his CA hearing is on Wednesday. And we also have with us Vice Mayor Onal Goles, my dear friend from Iloilo.
Yes, he's
from
here.
Dumangas. And we had earlier also, I saw Governor Presby Velasco was also with us earlier.
Yes, Mr. President, we welcome all of them, especially Chairman Liel Cordova. And if I'm a member of CA, Mr. President, I will put on record that I am supporting him, his appointment, Mr. President.
Yes.
Mr. President, at this juncture, I move that we transfer from the calendar of for ordinary business to the calendar for special orders. Committee Report number 8 on Senate Bill number 1410. This is the National Hijab Day, Mr. President.
Yes, there being no objection to the motion, motion is approved. Secretary could read the title of the measure.
An act declaring the first day of February of every year as National Hijab Day.
Yes, Mr. Yes, Mr. President. Mr. President, to sponsor the measure, may we recognize the distinguished gentleman from Bicol, Senator Robin Hood Padilla, as chairperson of the Committee on Cultural Communities and Muslim Affairs, to deliver the sponsorship speech. I so move, Mr.
The
President.
chairman of the Committee on Cultural Minorities and Muslim Affairs, a gentleman from Bicol, an adopted son of Mindanao, Senator Robin Hood Padilla is recognized, sir.
Maraming salamat po, mahal na Pangulo, ating ginoong Pangulo, at maraming salamat po sa ating pinunong mayorya. Kailangan po nating liliwanagin lagi yan. Isang magandang hapon po sa lupon ng ating Senado ng Republika ng Pilipinas. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Pagbati po ng kapayapaan, awa at pagpapala ng nag-iisang Diyos sa lahat. A'udhu billahi minasyaitanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Bismillahi wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillahi. Ako po ay tumitindig ngayong hapon sa bulwagang ito upang iulat po ang naging resulta ng pagdinig ng Committee on Cultural Communities and Muslim Affairs patungkol po sa pinag-uusapan na World Hijab Day. Ito po ang Senate Bill number 1410 ay inihain bilang substitusyon sa mga sumusunod na Senate bills, Senate Bill number 805 ng ating pong mahal na Senador Jinggoy Estrada at Senate Bill number 172 ng inyong lingkod na nagdideklara po sa unang araw ng Pebrero bilang pambansang araw ng hijab. Kasama rin po natin sa ating mithiin ang tagapangulo ng Committee on Women, Children, Family Relations, and Gender Equality na si Senadora Risa Hontiveros. At ang atin pong kaibigan na si Senador Lito Lapid. At siyempre po, ganun din po ang atin pong Senador Ramon Bong Revilla Jr. Ang kanya pong ifinail ay ang Senate Bill number 1418 noong Oktubre 27, 2022. Magkakasama po dito ang apat na sikat. Bagamat nauna nang nabuo at naisumite ang ulat ng komite noong ikadalawampu ng Oktubre 2022, nagkaroon po tayo ng ugnayan sa ating mahal na senador upang maitala siya bilang kapwa-sponsor ng panukalang pambansang araw ng hijab. Sa pamamagitan po ng pagdinig na ginanap ng ating komite noong ikadalawamput-dalawa ng Setyembre, kasama ang ating mga pinagpipitagang miyembro ng Muslim communities at iba pang sangay ng pamahalaan, hindi lamang nabigyan linaw ang kahulugan ng panukalang batas na ito, ngunit lalong higit nitong pinag-alab ang ating damdamin sa mas malalim na implikasyon ng pagsasabatas ng komemarasyon ng araw ng hijab. Ang pagsuot ng hijab po ng kababaihan na Muslim batay sa kanilang paniniwala ay protektado po ng ating saligang batas. Ang hijab ay isang belo na nakatakip sa buhok ng isang babae. Madali po itong ilarawan sapagkat tulad kung paanong nakatakip po ng belo ang Birheng Maria, sumakanya po ang kapayapaan. Ganon din po ang mga babae na nakahijab. Ito po ang itinataguyod ng panukalang batas. Ang malayang pagganap ng karapatan ng mga hijabi na walang pangamba sa diskriminasyon at takot sa pamamagitan ng pagsulong ng awareness o pagkakaunawaan sa pambansang araw ng hijab. Para po sa inyong lingkod, 10 ng ating mga kapatid na Muslim, ito po ay sumasagisag sa paghilom, paglaya at pagkakaisa. Una po, bilang isang Muslim, ang inyo pong lingkod ay buhay na saksi sa mga aktwal at salaysay ng iba't ibang uri at forma ng diskriminasyon na nararanasan ng ating mga kapatid na kababaihang Muslim na nakasuot ng hijab. Ang ilan sa ating mga naging panauhin sa ating isinagawang pagdinig ay nagbahagi rin ng kanilang mga personal na karanasan mula sa pagpapaalis ng kanilang suot na hijab dahil hindi daw ito naaangkop sa isang institusyon o maging sa mga pampublikong lugar. Ang hindi pagtanggap sa isang propesyon dahil sa nakakasagabal daw po na takip sa ulo. Hanggang sa panghaharas at pag-atake sa mga mag-aaral na kilala noong bilang si Boy Recto sa mga nakahijab noong 90s sa University Belt, Sampaloc, Manila. Ang mas nakalulungkot po, ang mga istoryang ito na sumusugat sa kanilang mga puso ay tila naging bahagi na ng pang-araw-araw na buhay ng ating mga kapatid. Mahal na Ginoong Pangulo, ito ay salamin rin ng masilimuot na realidad na kinaharap ng ating mga kapatid na Muslim sa pandaigdigang saklaw. 69% ng mga kababaihan na nagsusuot ng hijab ay nakaranas ng insidente ng diskriminasyon ayon sa pag-aaral po ng American Civil Liberties Union. 61% ng mga mag-aaral na Muslim ay nakaranas ng bullying base sa relihiyon. 17% ng mga Muslim na estudyante ang nakaranas ng pisikal na pangliligalig tulad ng pagtanggal ng kanilang hijab. At 33% ng mga estudyanteng Muslim ang nagulat na binago nila ang kanilang itsura, pangalan at iba pa upang itago ang kanilang relihiyon base sa ulat ng Council on American Islamic Relations sa Massachusetts. Ayon sa resulta ng 2005 Pulse Asia Survey na inilahad noong 2005, Philippine Human Development Report, 47% ng mga nakilahok sa survey ay naniniwala po na ang mga Muslim ay terorista at extremist at 39% ay nagsasabi na meron silang diskriminasyon sa mga Muslim. Kung kaya naman ako po ay naniniwala na ang pagtulak natin sa panukalang batas na ito para sa kampanya ng pampublikong kamalayan sa kahulugan ng pagsusuot ng hijab ay magiging daan upang sa wakas ay unti-unting maghilom na ang mga sugat na matagal nang iniinda ng ating mga kababaihang Muslim. Ginoong Pangulo, ang panukalang batas na ito ay sumisimbolo rin po sa paglaya ng ating mga kababaihan upang maipahayag ang tunay nilang pagkakakilanlan na walang bahid ng hiya, takot at pangamba mula sa mga matang mapanghusga. Sa pamamagitan ng ating malawakang kampanya, mas marami po ang mabibigyan ng kaalamanan at mas makakaunawa sa tunay na kahulugan ng hijab. Na hindi po ito basta isang piraso lamang ng tela. Pagkus ito po ay sumisimbolo sa respeto sa sarili at pagkapribado ng isang babaeng Muslim. Ginoong Pangulo, napapanahon na ang ating advokasya sa mga pandaigdigang isyu sa ngayon. Lahat tayo ay nagimbal sa pagkamatay ni Mahsa Amini ng Iran noong Setyembre 16. 3 araw matapos siyang arestuhin ng morality police sa Tehran, na siya ring naging udyok sa pagkalat ng malalaking protesta sa bansa habang tumitindi ang pag-aklas. Kumalat ang mga videos ng mga kababaihang naggugupit ng kanilang buhok at nagsusunog ng kanilang mga hijab. Mga pagkilos na nagsilbing pahayag ng galit na nakadirekta sa pulisya na responsable sa pagkamatay ni Mahsa Amini at maigting na pagtanggi sa patakaran ng sapilitang pagsusuot ng hijab. Ang panukalang batas, Ginoong Pangulo, ay nakatutok sa pagrespeto sa mga hijabi at wala po itong kinalaman sa sapilitang pagsuot ng hijab. Mulit-muli po, ito ay isang kampanya na magkaroon tayo ng isang araw sa kalendaryo para sa awareness at tamang kaalaman ukol sa mga hijabi upang maproteksyonan sila laban sa diskriminasyon at maging malaya sa pagganap sa kanilang paniniwala. Sumiklab din ang mga protesta sa India patungkol sa opresyon sa malayang pagsusuot ng hijab. Masidhi ang damdamin ng mga hijabi sa isyu ng pagbabawal sa mga estudyanteng Muslim na pumasok na may suot ng hijab sa kanilang mga silid-aralan. sa isang pampublikong kolehiyo sa distrito ng Udupi ng Karnataka. Kasunod nito, mas maraming institusyong pang-edukasyon sa buong estado ang nagbawal sa mga babaeng Muslim na magsuot ng hijab. Nagpakawala ng mga protesta ang mga hijabi na humantong sa pagsasampa ng kaso na ngayon ay nakabinbin sa kanilang Korte Suprema. Mas swerte pa po tayo, Ginoong Pangulo, sapagkat malayong mangyari sa atin ang mga kaganapang tulad nito sa kadahilanan na ang ating saligang batas mismo ang nagmandato sa kalayaan ng lahat na ipahayag ang kanilang paniniwala sa relihiyon. Kaakibat nito ay ang pananamit katulad ng hijab. Ayon sa Seksyon 5, Artikulo 3 ng Saligang Batas ay nagsasabi, dapat ipahintulot magpakailanman ang malayang pagsasagamit at pagtatamasa ng paghahayag ng relihiyon at pagsamba ng walang pagtatanggi o pamimili. Nararapat lamang po na bigyan natin ng laya ang bawat isa na ipahayag ang kanilang tradisyon, kultura, relihiyon at paniniwala. Ginoong Pangulo, atin din pong binibigyan diin na ang deklarasyon sa unang araw ng Pebrero upang gunitain ang araw ng hijab ay sumasagisag rin po sa isang inklusibo at nagkakaisang lipunan. Simula pa nang maitatag ang World Hijab Day noong 2013 ni Nazma Khan, isang imigrante sa United States of America mula sa Bangladesh, tinatayang 190 na bansa na po ang nakikibahagi sa selebrasyon ng araw na ito. Ang World Hijab Day ay isang paraan upang pagyamanin ang pag-unawa sa pagsusuot ng hijab sa pamamagitan ng pag-iimbita sa mga kababaihan, Muslim man o hindi, na maranasan ang pagsusuot ng hijab sa loob ng isang araw. Ang komemorasyong ito ay naglalayong puksain ang diskriminasyon laban sa mga babaeng Muslim na pinipiling magsuot ng hijab. Noong 2014 po, nagbigay ng pribilehiyong talumpati si Representative Jim Hataman Saliman tungkol sa pagdiriwang ng 2014 World Hijab Day. Sa sumunod na taon, naghain ng panukalang batas si Representative Siti Jalia Turabin Hataman sa Kongreso upang italaga ang Pebrero 1 kada taon bilang National Hijab Day. Umabot na rin po noon ang panukalang ito sa bulwagan ng Senado nang ihain ni Senador Juan Miguel Zubiri noong ika-18 Kongreso ang Senate Bill Number 2081 na siyang pinagsama kabilang ang House Bill Number 8249 sa ilalim ng Committee Report Number 360 na inisponsor ng ating mahal na Senadora Amy Marcos upang ideklara ang National Hijab Day. Ngunit, bago pa man po ang mga mahalagang kaganapang ito, meron na tayong mga representante mula sa mga Muslim communities, kabilang na sina Sister Samira Gotok, Attorney Maysara D. Latip, at BTA Member of Parliament Jamila Disimban Ramos, at ng marami pa nating kasamahan na matagal nang nagsusulong ng pagtataguyod at pagprotekta sa karapatan ng ating mga kapatid na Muslim. Kabilang na ang malayang pagsusuot ng hijab. Ito rin pong panukalang batas na ito ay sinusuportahan ng Bangsamoro Women Commission. Ang Bangsamoro Parliament po ay nagpasa din ng isang resolusyon sa pagdeklara sa February 1 bilang Hijab Day. Ika nga po ni Sister Maysara nung nakaraang pagdinig, ito po ay 30 years in the making na. Nararapat lamang po na tayo ay magpasa ng batas pangkalahatan na maghahatid ng mensahe ng pagkakaisa at inklusyon para sa lahat ng miyembro ng lipunan, anuman ang kanyang relihiyon, kultura at paniniwala. Ginoong Pangulo, nais ko pong ulit-ulitin o ikangay bigyan diin na ang layunin po ng panukalang batas na aking inihahain ngayon sa ating bulwagan ay ang pagdedeklara ng komemorasyon o paggunita sa pambansang araw ng hijab. Batid ko pong ipaunawa sa lahat na hindi rin po natin sinasabing dapat ituring na isang holiday ang unang araw ng Pebrero sapagkat dalawa lamang po ang okasyon na pinagdiriwang ng kamusliman, ang Idil Fitir at ang Idil Adha. Nilalayon rin po nating himukin ang mga ahensya ng gobyerno, mga paaralan at mga pribadong sektor upang gunitain ang pambansang araw ng hijab, upang ipalaganap ang kaalaman patungkol sa sagisag ng takdang araw na ito. Ang atin pong isinusulong ay inihahalin tulad natin sa isang pambansang kampanya upang itaas ang antas ng pampublikong kamalayan sa simbolo ng hijab. Kaalinsabay ng pagsisikap nating lumikha ng isang mahabagin, payapa at inklusibong lipunan. Sa puntong ito, akin pong iminumungkahi na ang bawat miyembro naririto sa bulwagang ito ay maging kapwa may akda sa Senate Bill 1410 bilang pakikiisa sa ating mabuting layunin. Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Pangulo. Syukran, akin po ang karangalan.
Shukran to my dear colleague and adopted son of Mindanao. We'd like to recognize Senator Amy Marcos. She's raising her hands.
Yes, maraming salamat po, Ginoong Pangulo, pati ang ating majority. Papasalamat po ako sa ating kapwa senador, si Senador Robin Padilla, pagkat ako po bilang dating chairperson nitong committee natin sa cultural communities ay nagpasa nung 18th Congress, nung ating nakaraang Kongreso, nitong Committee Report number 370 tungkol nga dito sa National Hijab Day. So, naabutan nga lang to ng katapusan, pero nung December 6 of 2021, the committee report was already filed. A Senate bill was also filed, Senate Bill number 2081 by myself, and I am grateful for Senator Padilla's reminder that we should all be co-authors of the same during the 19th Congress. Thank you.
Thank you very much, our distinguished colleague from Ilocos Norte. Majority Leader?
Thank you, Mr. President. Next on the list here on the table is our Senate President.
But before, may I just ask permission from the sponsor if we can, I'd like to
Later.
be made.
Yes, yes, Mr. President,
author of
I
that
will
measure.
make the proper motion later, Mr. President, as we have talked to several members of the Senate, Mr.
When we
President.
proceed to the second item on the agenda, we'll have to suspend consideration of this measure.
Mr. President, there are
There
four
are
more
more
co-sponsorships which
co-sponsors.
as
Okay.
listed here, Mr. President.
Okay.
Next to co-sponsor the measure is Senator Lauren Legarda, our Senate President pro tempore. I move that she be recognized, Mr.
Our
President.
distinguished lady senator, the Senate President pro tempore, lady from Panay and Antique is recognized, Senator Lauren Legarda.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will no longer read my speech, Mr. President, but I would just like to congratulate the sponsor and associate myself with him and request that my co-sponsorship speech be inserted into the record and to be made co-sponsor and co-author. And I think that this measure, if enacted into law, will be complementary to previously enacted laws in the Senate, in Congress, the Idil Fitir law more than 15 years ago, and the Idil Adha law. Having those two enacted laws, the hijab bill, if enacted into law, will also be good for our Muslim brothers and sisters and will bring us further collaboration with the Muslim countries in the ASEAN region as well. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Absolutely. I agree with you totally, Madam.
Thank you, Mr.
Majority Floor
President.
Leader.
Mr. President, next on the list is the distinguished gentleman from the city of San Juan, Senator Jinggoy Estrada. I move that he be recognized for his co-sponsorship
The
speech.
distinguished gentleman from the city of San Juan, Senator Jinggoy Estrada, is recognized. Please
Thank you,
proceed.
Mr. President. Mr. President, it is my honor to co-sponsor Senate Bill number 1410 under Committee Report number 8, entitled An Act Declaring the first day of February of every year as National Hijab Day. It is my intent as principal author of this measure, having filed Senate Bill number 805, to institutionalize the declaration of the National Hijab Day in harmony with the annual February 1 World Hijab Day celebration. Through the National Hijab Day, we are encouraging present and future generations to imbibe the culture and the spirit behind the practice of wearing hijab as profession of faith, modesty, and dignity. The World Hijab Day celebration fosters religious tolerance, dismantle bigotry and discrimination against Muslim women. It also envisions a world where we are all united through our diversity, despite race, color, creed, or religion. Indeed, this is another important step that we are taking towards Christian, Muslim, Filipino understanding and solidarity. My congratulations to the sponsor, Senator Robin Hood Padilla, for prioritizing this simple yet meaningful piece of legislation. Batid naman po ni Senator Robin na lagi akong nakasuporta sa kanyang mga ipinaglalaban, lalo na't ito ay para sa interes at kapakanan ng ating mga mahal na kapatid na Muslim, na malapit rin po sa aking puso at sa puso ng aking ama, si dating Pangulong Joseph Estrada. And with that, I am in full support of Senate Bill number 1410 under Committee Report number 8. Thank you, Mr. President. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you very much, distinguished colleague.
Mr. President, next to co-sponsor the measure is the distinguished gentleman from the great province of Cavite, Senator Bong Revilla. I move that he be recognized.
The distinguished gentleman from the great province of Cavite, Senator Ramon Bong Revilla Jr. is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise today to express my full support to this measure that aims to recognize the significance of hijab to the Muslim faith. This measure will allow one day every year to pay respect to this symbolic fixture in the Muslim faith, not as a mere courtesy and or accommodation, but as meaningful representation of our genuine appreciation to the richness of their culture and of a deeply rooted awareness of their faith. Our Muslim brothers and sisters have been subjected to discrimination and prejudice because of religion. As narrated by the senator from Bicol, there's been many instances that we see our Muslim brothers and sisters denied services and goods because of their faith. Sabi nga nila na takot tayo sa mga bagay na hindi natin maintindihan. I think that this is true. The Muslim faith has been maligned, especially in popular media, bilang mga kidnapper o terorista. Hindi po ito totoo at lalong hindi po ito tamang gawain, Mr. President. That is why I've been filing time and again measures that would not only promote their rights, but protect them, such as Senate Bill number 1418 on National Hijab Day, and Senate Bill number 1502, which prohibits the use of the words that would denote religious, regional, or ethnic affiliation in print, radio, television, including cable television, and other forms of broadcast media to refer to or describe any person suspected or convicted of a crime or unlawful act and providing penalties. I laud the efforts of Senator Robin Hood Padilla in spreading awareness with regard to our Muslim brothers and sisters, especially to our sisters who wear the hijab. Ignorance breeds fear and the best way to combat this is through awareness. With the permission of this representation, may this representation be made co-author of this measure. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Senator Revilla.
Mr. President, last but not the least is the distinguished gentleman from the province of Davao, Senator Bato de la Rosa. I move that he be recognized for his co-sponsorship speech. I so move, Mr.
To my
President.
neighbor in Mindanao, the distinguished gentleman from Davao, is recognized Senator Bato, Ronald Bato de la Rosa.
Thank you, Mr. President. Majority Leader, thank you. Mr. President, it is my honor to co-sponsor Senate Bill number 1410 or the National Hijab Day under Committee Report number 8. I would like to commend the chairperson of the Senate Committee on Cultural Communities and Muslim Affairs, ang aking idolo, mapapelikula man o debate, sa TV screen man o dito sa Senate floor, kampiyon ng mga kapatid nating Muslim, Senator Robin Hood Padilla. Allow me to begin by quoting Robert Allen. Cultural differences should not separate us from each other, but rather cultural diversity brings a collective strength that can benefit all of humanity. Noon, Mr. President, ang akala ng nakararami, lalo na mga nasa posisyon, na ang lakas ay nasa pagkakapareho. Akala nila, unity is secured by uniformity. Ngunit tayo mga Pilipino, ang unang magsasabi na may mali sa paniniwalang ito. We who are born into various islands separated by large bodies of water, we who learn to speak multiple languages and dialects, we who find ourselves inheriting vastly different cultures, we still come together as one Filipino nation. Tayo, Mr. President, ay nagmula sa Mindanao at ang tawag natin sa ating demographic doon ay tribe people. Mayroong Muslim, mayroong Lumad, at may mga Kristiyano. Pero lahat Pilipino. It is our diversity that grants us our unity, Mr. President. Ang ating pagtatag ng National Hijab Day sa bawat unang araw ng Pebrero kada taon, ito ang magsisilbing patunay na sinusuportahan ng inyong Senado ang ating pagkakaiba bilang mga Pilipino. That we reject discrimination in all its forms, especially towards women who are committed to their religion and way of life. That we uphold the value of diversity in the name of defending our unity. Thank you, Mr. President.
Maraming salamat, Senator De La Rosa.
Mr. President, before I make this motion of suspending the consideration of the measure, let me just put on record that this representation would be honored to be co-author of the measure, as well as we have spoken, Mr. President, to 98% of the members of the Senate who asked that they also become co-authors of the measure. So let me put that on record, Mr. President.
Thank you. If I could put on record also with the permission of the sponsor, if I can be made also co-author and co-sponsor.
Yeah.
I'd be honored.
All members, Mr. President.
All
Let me
members.
move that all members be made co-author, Mr. President.
And I would just like to add before you suspend, nagpapasalamat po ako kay Senator Robin Hood Padilla na ilabas niya po itong panukala. It's because some countries have gone
Yeah.
to the extreme and they have decided to be more they decide to be more how do you say liberal and instruct their people to, or their Muslim brothers and Muslim sisters, to remove their hijabs in schools and in other public places in other countries. I think that is o labag po yan sa kanilang paniniwala. Kaya ako naniniwala we should respect, no? There should be tolerance, there should be no prejudice such as that, especially when it comes to religion. Meron din tayong mga kapatid na taga-India, nandito na nakatira, kung sa ano pa, sa slang, Bombay, ay naka-ano po sila, turban, and they're also religious. It's also because of the religion, particularly the Sikhs. There's a religion, Sikh is a religion in India where they really have to wear, the men have to wear head coverings. So dapat respetuhin po natin yan. At I'm looking for the word when they're trying to be, the word escapes me now, but when they try to uh, uh, gawing patas na they don't recognize any more religion, no, in classrooms and in public areas, hindi po tama yan. Non-discriminatory, but I'll remember the word when it comes to me. But I thank you, sir, Senator Padilla. It's a long time coming, and I believe it will be an honor it will be a good gift to our brothers and sisters who believe in the Islamic faith, and I think that is a good gift to them. So, Majority Leader.
Yes, Mr. President, I can't wait to wear hijab, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we suspend consideration of Senate Bill number 1410 under Committee Report number 8.
There be no objection to the motion. Motion is approved.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, may I move for a minute suspension so that you can...
Session suspended.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. President, with the permission of the body, I move to consider Senate Resolution number 302. I so move, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, motion's carried.
Mr. President, may I request the Secretary to read the title of the measure?
The Senate Secretary is directed to read the title of the measure.
Resolution creating a select oversight committee on intelligence and confidential funds, programs, and activities.
Mr. President, to sponsor the measure, may we recognize our distinguished Senate President, Senator Juan Miguel Zubiri, to deliver the sponsorship speech. I so move, Mr. President.
Our Senate President, Juan Miguel Zubiri, is recognized.
Maraming salamat sa ating Majority Floor Leader. Thank you, our presiding officer, Senate President, and to my colleagues. I stand here today to sponsor Senate Resolution number 302, creating a select oversight committee to keep a close eye on our government agencies' utilization of their allocated confidential and intelligence funds. I'd like to put on record that we've been doing this since the 10th Congress, and each Congress has had an oversight committee. It has been the tradition of the Senate to constitute a select oversight committee for these funds, and we must, in the 19th Congress, continue this tradition, especially as we are dealing with confidential intelligence funds amounting to 9.28 billion pesos for 2023. These funds are essential, and we need to empower our agencies to conduct necessary programs, operations, and activities for the safety and security of our people. This is especially true now as we are facing strange new challenges in these strange new times. Crime looks and moves differently than we are used to. Sometimes it creeps into vulnerable spaces like schools, where illegal drugs or child pornography can find root in. So in these times, we need to be more trusting of our government agencies as agencies at the forefront of these problems like child sexual abuse, illegal drugs, terrorism, and the like would know what appropriate programs, activities, and projects to undertake. We have to have faith that they would use every inch of diligence and discretion in undertaking surveillance and intelligence gathering in the discharge of their sacred mandates in and in keeping with their oaths. That said, it is also a responsibility to be vigilant over how these funds are in use, as they are not subject to the usual or regular auditing rules and procedures of the Commission on Audit as compared to other expense items in the budget. So it falls on us, on this proudly democratic independent Senate, to reactivate the Select Oversight Committee, where we can subject these confidential intelligence funds to checks and balances. We are cognizant of our own primordial role, power, and responsibility as holders of the power of the purse. We, the elected representatives of the people, must ensure that these funds are judiciously and rightly used. Judiciously, rather, and rightly used. Trust, or please trust, that we will do our jobs. The Senate will exercise the full extent of our oversight function, and we will monitor the use of these funds, and we will go over the reports relevant to each agency's use of the funds. And we will conduct hearings if necessary, Your Honor. Babantay tayo sa pondong ito, pera ito ng bayan, kaya bilang Senado ng bayan, sisiguraduhin natin na taong bayan rin ang makikinabang nito. With that, I hope to have your support, my dear colleagues, in constituting this committee for this 19th Congress. Maraming salamat po, Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
Mr. President, the Minority Leader wishes to be recognized. I move for his recognition, Mr. President.
We recognize the Minority Leader. Senator
Mr.
Pimentel.
President, I welcome this development in the Senate, but as stated by our Senate President, we have done this before. So let's continue the good practice. But then there's even a better practice, which is to discourage the allocation of lump sums, especially in the form of confidential and intelligence funds in the national budget. So if we are able to constitute this committee, select committee, it will have jurisdiction on those agencies and personalities or government officials which have command over confidential and intelligence funds after we have tried our best to trim down the grant of CIF and also to discourage the grant of CIF. So yun po yun. So this is parang, in my mind, this becomes parang a second level of defense in the name of the people and for the people. So thank
you.
In the name of transparency. So thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, Senator Robin Hood Padilla wishes to be recognized. I move that he be recognized, Mr. President.
Senator Padilla is recognized.
Maraming salamat po, Pinunong Mayorya. Ginoong Pangulo, ako po'y naliligayahan sapagkat ito pong usapin ng intelligence at confidential fund ay naayos po natin dito sa ating kapulungan sapagkat napakahalaga po nito. Ako po ay hindi naman po ako magpapaligoy-ligoy pa. Ako po ay dating leftist. Ako po ay napabilang sa mga lumalaban sa gobyerno. Ngayon, ako po ay naliligayahan sapagkat gusto ko pong ibalita sa ating mga kababayan na sa ngayon po, napaka-successful, napakamatagumpay po ng ating gobyerno sa pakikipaglaban sa mga terorista. Katunayan, ito pong mga intelligence at confidential fund na ito ay nakatulong po para linisin yung mga liblib na lugar ng mga terorista, ng mga tinatawag po natin na nananakot, nangingikil. Nandiyan po lahat yan. Akin pong sinusuportahan itong pagbibigay ng intelligence fund, confidential fund sa ating pong Pangulo, sa ating pong pangalawang Pangulo, lalong-lalo na po sa ating pangalawang Pangulo, sapagkat ang Davao po sa ngayon ay maituturing pong safe zone na. Yan po ay nalinis na ng mga tinatawag po nating mga terorista. At alam ko po, yaang pangyayari na yan, kasama po sa tagumpay na yan ang ating Vice Presidente. At naniniwala po ako na malaki ang maitutulong ng ating Vice Presidente sapagkat ang unang, katulad po ng ginawa kong pelikula, na ang pangalan po ng dokumentaryo, ito pong Memoirs of a Teenage Rebel. Ito po ay pinag-usapan po dito kung paano nire-recruit ng mga terorista yung ating pong mga batang estudyante sa mga paaralan at dinadala po nila ito sa kabundukan. Iyan po, napatunayan po namin doon na bilyon-bilyon piso po ang nanggagaling na funding niyan sa abroad. At paano po natin yan lalabanan? Lalabanan po natin yan kung meron din po tayong bilyon-bilyon na ibibigay natin sa intelligence at confidential fund. Kaya po ako, nagpapasalamat po ako sa ating kapulungan at inyo po itong sinusulong at magkakaroon po tayo ng oversight committee dito. At ako po ay sinusundan ko po lahat ng sinasabi ng ating Ginoong Pangulo at ang ating pong pinunong manurya. At ito po ay tagumpay ng Inang Bayang Pilipinas. Dahil sabi nga po namin ni Senator Bato, hanggat may kaguluhan sa loob ng bansa, huwag po nating asahan na tayo'y aasenso. Kailangan po nating tapusin yung kaguluhan na yan para tayo po'y umasenso. At ako naman po, gusto ko pong liwanagin lang. Ako po ay hindi against sa kahit anong makakaliwa. Ang against po ako, yung karahasan. Tigilan na natin yung karahasan. Pwede naman po tayong lahat maging revolusyonaryo, yung tunay na revolusyonaryo, pero walang karahasan. Huwag po tayong maging paatras, kundi maging paabante po tayo. Maraming salamat po, mahal na Pangulo.
Maraming salamat, Senator Robin Hood Padilla.
Mr. President, in the name of transparency and accountability, may I move that all members be made co-authors of the measure. So move, Mr. President.
There being no objection to the motion, motion is approved.
Mr. President, no member wishes to interpolate or propose any amendments to the measure. I move that we adopt Senate Resolution number 302, subject to style.
There being no objection, the motion is approved.
Mr. President, with the permission of the body and pursuant to the adopted resolution, may I move for the designation of the following senators as chairpersons and members of the Select Oversight Committee on Intelligence and Confidential Funds, Programs, and Activities. Chairperson, no other than our Senate President, Senator Juan Miguel Zubiri. Members, Senator Sani Angara, Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa, yours truly, Senator Joel Villanueva, and on the part of the minority, our minority leader, Senator Coco Pimentel. So move, Mr. President.
There being no objection to the election of these individuals, therefore approved. Motion is approved.
Move for a minute suspension, Mr. President.
Session suspended.
Thank you, Mr. President. With the permission of the body, we take this privileged speech up, and I ask that we recognize, Mr. President, Senator Risa Ontiveros, our Deputy Minority Leader, to deliver her speech. So move, Mr. President.
Our distinguished Deputy Minority Floor Leader, Senator Risa Ontiveros, the lady from Panay in the Republic of the Philippines, is recognized. Sure, of course, ma'am.
Salamat kaayo, Mr. President and Majority Leader. Mr. President, fellow senators, meron po akong good news at bad news para sa atin at sa ating mga kababayang nakikinig ngayong hapon. Ang good news, kasama na ng kinatawan ng DFA UMWA ang 12 Pilipinong OFWs na biktima ng isang large-scale human trafficking operation ng isang sindikatong Chinese based in Myanmar. Na-rescue po ang 12 nating kababayan sa tulong ng ating local NGO community at ng kanilang solidarity networks. It was quite the extraction operation indeed, Mr. President, in a country struggling with military rule and civil war at that. After they made the successful crossing at the border of Myanmar and Thailand, the Department of Foreign Affairs met them on the Thailand side to facilitate their safe trip back home via Bangkok. Let me thank all our partner organizations and even our 12 OFWs for their patience, collaboration, and bravery to pull off this high-stakes mission successfully. Malaking pasasalamat sa DFA for coming to the border after they managed to cross, lalo na sa Philippine Embassy in Thailand na alam ko ay aligaga din dahil sa APEC Summit. Salamat sa Diyos. Salamat sa inyong lahat dahil buo-buo silang mayayakap ng kanilang pamilya pagdating dito sa Pilipinas. Sabay-sabay silang magpapasko. At ngayon, dumako na tayo sa bad news. Ayon sa 12 OFWs na ito, sila ay napangakuan ng trabaho bilang sa isang call center, bilang CSR o Customer Service Representative o di kaya ay data encoder. Yan kasi ang original na job listing, call center agent. Ngunit, pagdating nila sa Thailand, kung saan inaakala nilang magtatrabaho sila, hinila sila ng mga alagad ng Chinese mafia na ito sa Myanmar upang gawing mga scammer na gumagamit ng cryptocurrency. At kapag wala silang na-scam o nahuthutan sa pamamagitan ng crypto, hindi sila pinapakain, hindi sila pinapasweldo, ibinebenta sila sa ibang kumpanya at higit sa lahat, pinagbabantaan ang kanilang buhay. Ang pinakamalalang na ibahagi sa atin ng isa sa mga na-rescue at warning na rin ito sa ating mga ahensya at sa ating mga kababayan dito sa Pilipinas. May namumuong masamang plano ang Chinese mafia na ito na gawing all-Filipino team ang mga scammer nila sa Myanmar at iba pang lugar dahil sa ating English proficiency. This is why I stand before you today, Mr. President, because this is of extreme importance and urgency. These Chinese mafias are making the Philippines an incubator of scammers. My dear colleagues, I hope and know you are one with me in saying that we are not and will never be known as a nation of scammers. As the author and sponsor of the Anti-Trafficking in Persons Law of 2022, hindi lingid sa kaalaman ninyo, fellow senators, ang aking laban noon pa dito sa human trafficking. During the 18th Congress, ibinunyag natin ang kalakaran sa Pastilla scam na nagpahina sa ating immigration borders at iligal na nagpapasok sa bansa ng mga kababaihan at mga menor de edad upang gawing prostituted women and children sa mga POGO facilities ng mga Chinese. Also, because of this investigation, we rescued victim survivors who were trafficked to Syria. Some even trafficked and abused as minors, still because of our porous borders, but this time outbound. As you know, matagal nang minamanmanan ng aking opisina ang outbound racket na ito, kung saan ang ating mga kababayan ay nakakapunta sa mga bansang may travel ban na nga, may digmaan pa. At sa rescue operation nga na ito ng ating 12 kababayan, nalantad ng isang patunay na hanggang ngayon, kahit na bisto na reshuffle na, at napanagot sa batas ang mga sangkot sa notorious na Pastilla scam noon, nagpapatuloy pa rin ang nakapanlulumong modus na ito, ngunit sa ibang forma, at maaaring pinapatakbo ng ibang sindikato na hiwalay pa sa Pastilla scam. Dear colleagues, hayaan ninyong ipakilala ko sa inyo ngayong hapon si Rita. Hindi niya tunay na pangalan. Isa sa mga OFWs na na-rescue ng mga NGOs mula sa Myanmar. Dahil na rin sa lumalalang parusa sa mga Pilipino at patuloy na pang-pressure ng mga Chinese, nag-email na rin si Rita sa DFA, sa OWA at sa iba't ibang NGOs. Matinding pagmamakaawa at paghihintay ang pinagdaanan ng mga OFWs na ito dahil na rin sa gulo sa Myanmar at sa hirap na makipag-ugnayan sa labas ng compound ng mga mafia. Isinalaysay ni Rita sa amin kung paano siya na-recruit, sino ang nag-recruit sa kanya, at kung paano tinuturuan ang ating mga kababayang biktima na makalusot sa immigration officer sa airport. Nabanggit niya rin kung paano sila nakatawid mula Thailand patungong Myanmar at kung ano ang sinapit nila sa paglalakbay na iyon. At ang malala pa, mga kasama, alam ni Rita ang mga detalye ng kalakarang ito dahil ginugroom siya ng mafia na maging recruiter ng kapwa Pinoy. Talagang walang katapusang pang-aabuso. Ito po ang Facebook account na sinasabi ni Rita na recruiter niya, si Len. At dito, nakalagay na true enough, naghahanap siya ng encoder na taga Thailand. Active pa rin ang profile na ito sa FB. Ang mga post na nagre-recruit tulad nito, nagkalat sa iba't ibang mga Facebook pages, private man o public, na tinatarget ang ating mga kababayan na naghahanap ng trabaho sa ibang bansa. Hanggang ngayon, nakikita ang mga ganitong mga umano'y vacancy sa mga FB page na maraming Pilipinong taga Middle East at sa Filipinos in Thailand group. But one of the most sinister of the FB pages, and probably they are more like it, is called Pogo Secret Files. Private page po ito. Ibig sabihin, may admin na sumasala sa mga members. Ibig sabihin rin, extra layer ito para sa ating mga otoridad na nais basagin ang modus na ito. Ilan pang mga nagbabagang tanong ngayon. Sino ang pasimuno sa patuloy na pananamantala ng ating mga kababayang nag-iisip sumugal sa ibang bansa? Paano sila nagka-work visa? Sino ang nagtatatak ng kanilang immigration papers? At matapos ang sinabi nilang malawakang paglilinis sa Bureau of Immigration, sino ang natitirang nagbibigay ng go signal na palusutin ang mga Pilipino kahit ang end destination ay mapanganib at mahigpit na ipinagbabawal na lugar. Sa susunod na video ng salaysay ni Rita, idinetalya niya sa amin kung paano sila tinuruan at pinilit ng Chinese mafia na manloko ng mga foreigners para mag-invest sa cryptocurrency. Narito ang kwento na yan.
So yung trabaho po namin doon, gagawa po kami ng mga fake account. Yung fake accounts po yun sa marami pong platform. Facebook, LinkedIn, Tinder, marami pong dating apps. Tapos po, yung grupo po namin, iba-iba po kasi yung grupo. Yung grupo po namin, nakafocus po talaga kami sa LinkedIn kasi doon po yung may mga professional na trabaho. So, yun po yung mga target naming tao, yung may mga mayayaman po, may magagandang trabaho. So, ang gagawin po namin, gagawa po kami ng account, meron po kaming model. Yung model po is tunay na tao. Bali katrabaho po namin siya para po ang ginagamit naming picture, mga larawan niya, mga video, siya po. Tapos po, pag tumatawag yung magiging friends or connection namin, pag gustong makausap, nandyan po siya para kausapin through video call or gusto ng voice call, nandyan po siya para gawin yon. Bali, ang pinakatrabaho po namin is chat. China-chat po namin sila. So, kami po yung nakikipag-communicate, kukunin namin yung loob nila, kailangan magtiwala sila sa amin. Pagkatapos po nun, pag feeling namin, nagtitiwala na sila sa amin, yayayain na po namin silang mag-invest sa cryptocurrency. Magaganap lang po yon kapag nailipat na po namin sila sa WhatsApp or Telegram. Yun po yung pinaka main messaging app po na ginagamit namin kasi yung mga ginagamit naming fake accounts ay pwede pong maband. So, kailangan malipat po namin sila sa Telegram at WhatsApp para continuous po, long-term yung communication na mangyayari sa naging customer at saka po sa amin. Yung sa pang-i-scam po namin, meron pong may kailangan po kami ipa-download sa App Store or sa Play Store. Yun po yung crypto.com or Coinbase or Kraken. Yung pong tatlong yun ay exchange kung tawagin. Pero legal po sila. Dahil yun po talaga ay ginagamit ng mga nag-cryptocurrency trading. Pumapasok na po yung illegal o yung hindi tama na pinapasok ng mga biktima po namin is yung link na nanggagaling po sa mga Chinese. Ipapakilala po namin yun as trading platform kung saan yung pera po nila sa crypto.com or sa Coinbase or sa Kraken, ililipat po nila doon para itaya. So pag nalipat na po nila yun doon, ayun pong link na yun ay kontrolado na po ng mga Chinese. Kung gusto ka nilang pa-withdrawin, pwede kang maka-withdraw pag in-approve po nila. Pero pag ayaw nilang pa-withdrawin ka, hindi po nyo yung ma-withdraw hanggat wala po silang approval. Dahil po sa unang pagkapanalo nila, nadodoble yung pera nila, papa-withdrawin po muna nila para mapaniwala si biktima na pwedeng mag-withdraw. Posibleng mag-withdraw. Pero sa susunod na lumaki na ng lumaki yung capital o yung investment ng biktima, at gusto nilang withdrawin ito, hindi na po nila mawi-withdraw kasi hindi na po i-approve iyon ng mga Chinese. Meron po kaming 3 grupo sa company, kanya-kanya po kaming bansa. Kami po, naka-assign po kami sa US and Canada. Yung kabila pong grupo, United Kingdom, at saka po Germany. Yung kabila pong grupo, nasa ano po sila, lahat ng dating app na kahit ano pong bansa.
Binahagi sa amin ni Rita.
So yung trabaho po namin doon, gagawa po kami ng mga fake account. Yung fake
Ibinahagi sa amin ni Rita ang isang pakete ng mga dokumento na ginagamit nilang blueprint sa pang-scam. Kumbaga, para ring isang regular na call center agent na humahawak ng account. Mula sa workflow table, quote, insert investment topics and end chatting with unqualified customers as soon as possible. Don't waste too much time on unqualified and worthless customers and cut directly to the investment topic. Know what time he goes to bed. You need to know if he is asleep when you chat and arrange the time in advance when you open an account and recharge later. Most people spend the night in emptiness and loneliness, and you accompany him at this time. Just give him enough love. Night is the best time to touch people's hearts. Purpose, to make him like you, trust you, depend on you, and want to get you right away. Close quote. Binigyan sila ng striktong profile ng personality ng taong ipinipresenta nila. Kung ano ang mga dapat isaisip, ano ang priorities bilang agent, at kung ano mismo ang sasabihin sa mga kausap nila. Mula sa word file na matters needing attention. First of all, we must clearly know which country our characters will be packaged to. Our current customer groups are mainly Canada and the United States. So we need to package our character work to the United States or Canada, but the nationality of our characters must be Asian. Secondly, our characters are packaged as female elites in the workplace, over 32 years old. We have very rich workplace experience. The position must be packaged as a manager or above, and it is forbidden to be packaged as a general employee. Tulad ng isang call center agent, meron silang call flow. Meron din silang spills, may mga nararapat na topics lang na pwedeng pag-usapan. At kasama nito mga nakahandang sagot sa pinaka-random questions na maaring sabihin ng customer. Mula pagkain, binabasang libro, sports tulad ng basketball, hiking, and even skiing. May mga linyang nakahanda tulad ng mga sumusunod mula sa chat topic document. I am a New Yorker in the United States. I am motivated to travel. I listen to less pop music except for Taylor Allison Swift. I like playing basketball and I am a fan of the Lakers. But since Kobe left, I have not dared to watch the Lakers game again. After dinner, I usually watch the news and research cryptocurrencies. Higit sa lahat, hanapan sila ng extensive resume, handa rin ito at may mga pekeng detalye at links. Kunyari ang agent ay nagpakilala bilang Claudine Wong, marketing manager at Accenture, graduate ng Nanyang Technological University, Singapore at USC Marshall School of Business. Dagdag pa ng profile, over 10 years of career in business management, team leadership, and customer service with Fortune 500 companies. Kaya, mga kababayan, maging mapagmatsyag po tayo kapag may nagme-message sa atin na hindi natin kilala kahit sa LinkedIn. Ngayon naman, idinetalya ni Rita ang pang-aabuso ng mga employer kapag hindi sila nakahanap ng mga taong ma-scam. At muli, ang mistulang pagtitraining ng mga mafia kay Rita bilang future recruiter ng mga Pilipinong scammer sa Myanmar. At this point, Mr. President, I would like to highlight that this modus has two sets of victims, the trafficked and the scammed. Additionally, the heavy impact on the victim's mental health, not just of the scamming, but also of having to sustain sexual and romantic relationships online and somehow feign sexual desire para lang may mag-invest sa crypto nilang ito at huwag mapagbuhatan ng kamay. Hindi biro ang mga nakukuhang text ng mga OFWs kapag hindi sila nakakuha ng kliyente. Bukod sa overtime, pinagbabantaan silang paggagawin ng 1,000 squats, pagbubuhati ng balde-balding tubig, hahatawin ng electric baton, babatuhin, at sasaksakin hanggang mamatay. Sa mga panahong pinaparusahan at inaabuso sila ng mga Chinese, sinikap ni Rita at ng kanyang mga kasamahan na makipag-ugnayan sa aking opisina. Awa ng Diyos, dahil sa pagtutulungan ng lahat, sa lalong madaling panahon, makakauwi na sila. Ngunit hindi dito natatapos ang lahat. Ang huling mensahe ni Rita na nananawagang maging mapagmatsyag ang ating mga kababayang naghahanap ng trabaho abroad. Nais din niyang makamit ang hustisya. para sa kanilang mga nabiktima ng modus na ito. And lastly, in a disturbing development, Mr. President, we also found out that the exact area where they were, Shwekokko Special Economic Zone, or Yatay New City, owned by Yatay International Holdings Group, a hub described as a quote, safe haven for online gambling and fraud operators, close quote, may possibly have a connection to the Farmally players. Yatay International Holding Group's owner, She Zhejiang, who was arrested just last month by Thai authorities, has multiple business interests in the Philippines. A company named Yatay International Corporation is associated with Lincoln Ong. Pareho lang kaya ang Yatay International Corporation and Yatay International Holdings Group? Para kaya itong yung Farmally International Holdings, Farmally Biological Company, at Farmally Pharmaceutical Company? These links must be brought to light and further investigated. Bago po ako matapos, dear colleagues, na-rescue man ang 12 nating mga kababayan, ating alalahanin na hindi pa rin tumitigil ang pananamantala ng mga masasamang loob. Marami pang Pilipino sa Myanmar ang nangangailangan ng ating tulong. Tulad ng mga na-rescue, napilitan silang kumapit sa mga pangako ng sindikato dahil sa hirap ng buhay. Sana ay maibalik na rin sila dahil katakot-takot na paghihirap na rin siguro ang sinasapit nila ngayon. I am calling on the Department of Justice and the Interagency Council Against Trafficking to investigate these syndicates and their accomplices for jeopardizing the future of many Filipino women and families. And who gave the green light that allowed such procedure to thrive? I'm calling on the Department of Migrant Workers to facilitate a national information drive against scam job offers on the internet, guarding against unscrupulous recruiters, even when the recruiter is a fellow Filipino. Palala po ng palala ang mga storya ng human trafficking ng ating tinatalakay taon-taon. Tulad ng dati, handa pong makipagtulungan ang aking opisina para mapatigil na natin ang mga ganitong pangyayari. Hinihingi ko din sa DMW, OWA at DSWD na magbigay ng karampatang tulong o aftercare gaya ng counseling, legal assistance, livelihood assistance sa mga trafficked victims natin para makatulong sa kanilang healing at mabilisang reintegrasyon. And to the NBI and PNP cybercrime divisions, investigate and track down the admin of the Facebook pages and Telegram groups that are part of these operations. Ayon kay Rita, buo ang kanyang loob at handa siyang makipagtulungan sa abot ng kanyang makakaya upang matuldukan ang scam na ito. I appeal to you all and to all the government agencies who are able to help us. If we don't plug this hole, more and more of our kababayan will be duped and more people all over the world will be scammed. This issue involves investment scams and human trafficking in multiple dimensions, labor trafficking, technology-facilitated trafficking, and even sexual trafficking. The welfare of our people and our national identity are at stake. Let me reiterate, Filipinos are not and will never be known as a nation of scammers. Marami pong salamat, Mr. President, at magandang hapon.
Maraming salamat to our distinguished colleague, Senator Risa Ontiveros.
Mr. President, I
Very
move that-
timely yung kanyang speech. Very timely. We thank you for exposing this.
Yes, thank you, Senator Risa. At this point, Mr. President, I move that we recognize Senator Rafi Tulfo for a short manifestation.
Yes. The distinguished gentleman from Isabela and the Davao region, Senator Rafi Tulfo, is recognized.
Mr. President, I am very happy and very appreciative that my esteemed colleague and seatmate, Senator Rizal Ontiveros, brought this thing up. And we really do know na yung pong human trafficking is really rampant. And unfortunately, most of the victims are OFWs na gustong magtrabaho sa abroad para kumita ng pera at pagdating po sa abroad, sila po napapagsamantalahan. And I encourage my esteemed colleague, Senator Rizal Ontiveros, Mr. President, to file a proper resolution so that it refers to my committee. And I'll be more than happy and willing to work with her any way we could to ensure na ma-solve po itong problem na ito. And this is the reason why, if you remember, during the budget hearing involving the Department of Information and Communication Technology, na mabigyan po sana natin ng budget. Kasi po zero budget po when it comes to intelligence, yung pong DICT. Wala po silang confidential funds na ibinigay po sa kanila. Unlike po sa other agencies na kung tutusin, hindi naman talaga kailangan nila ng confidential funds pero nabibigyan sila. Ito pa kay DICT, which is very important. Crucial po ito sa atin, especially if we're talking about human trafficking. Na ito pong sa human trafficking, they're using po the social media. Kasi po, karamihan sa mga nabibiktima sa atin ay through the social media. Kasi gumagamit po sila ng mga iba-ibang site, iba't ibang pangalan, cover, para hindi po sila talaga tunay na ma-identify. So, dito po papasok yung ating DICT. So, kung well-funded po yung DICT at meron po silang tinatawag na intelligence funds, then madali pong masasakote ito pong mga scammers na ito na nagbi-victimize po ng ating mga OFWs. So again, doon po sa NGOs na nakipagtulungan po sa tanggapan ni Senator Rizal Ontiveros, I really commend them, I salute them, and if there's anything more we can do to help, me being the committee chair sa Department of Migrant or the committee chair sa mga OFWs, the migrant workers, again, I'll be more than happy to help. And hindi lang mo po dapat ako, this should be a collective effort for everybody to help para matugunan tong problema nito because it's been a long, long time this problem has been existing. And in fact, nagyari pa ito many times in the past about yung pastillas. So hindi ko alam hanggang ngayon pala, nag-exist pa rin to. So it's about time na magising tayong lahat, magtulungan tayo para ma-address itong issue nito. Maraming salamat, Mr. President. And again, Madam Riza Ontiveros, Senator Riza, thank you so very much for bringing this thing up. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator Tulfo.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to refer the privileged speech of Senator Rizal Ontiveros sa committees on women, children, family relations, and gender equality as the primary committee and migrant workers as the secondary committee. I so move, Mr. President.
Thank you. And maybe could we add a third committee, which is the committee of Senator Bato De La Rosa, because there's a criminal aspect. May mga sindikato na Chinese mafia. And I'd like to see our good Senator De La Rosa also. Session suspended.
Yes, Mr. President. During the break, we discussed
Can I have the rules?
the referral, Mr. President, of the speech delivered by Senator Risa Ontiveros. May I move that it be referred to the Committee on Rules? I so move, Mr. President.
There being no objection to the motion of the majority floor leader, motion is approved. And I just also want to put on record that under our rules, because usually it's only two committees, but in the past Congresses, with the permission of the body, we could refer it to three committees. But Section 15 says the motion for a third committee shall be referred to the Committee on Rules, and therefore it will be with the Committee on Rules, which you can later on dispense
Yes, Mr. President.
after other items are
Yes,
taken.
and this is in agreement, Mr. President, with the distinguished chairpersons of the said committee. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President, with the permission of the body, we take this privileged speech up, and I ask that we recognize, Mr. President, the distinguished gentleman from Isabela and Davao in the Republic of the Philippines, Senator Raffy Tulfo, to deliver his privileged speech. I so move, Mr. President.
Our distinguished colleague from the province of Isabela and Davao and the Republic of the Philippines, Senator Raffy Tulfo, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today, as part of my advocacy for the youth, I visited the National Children's Hospital and the Philippine Children's Medical Center. November is National Children's Month, and yesterday, November 20, was National Children's Day. Actually, even before I became senator, I visit these hospitals because more than anyone, the children in these hospitals need all the help they can get. They are the most helpless sector in our society. And today, I clearly saw the sadness and sorrow in the faces of these innocent angels, reflecting the pain and suffering they are going through in the first few moments of their lives. Ang bigat po sa dibdib makita itong mga bata na may malulubhang sakit, leukemia, stomach cancer, pancreatic cancer. Napalabas po ako ng kwarto dahil di ko na po matake ang kalagayan ng isang bata doon. He was a 6-year-old boy suffering with stage 4 liver cancer. Excuse me. He was having a hard time breathing, even if he already had an oxygen tank assisting him. I was told that he is just waiting for his time to go, meaning he was already sentenced to death. And his parents were there to helplessly witness it all. As a father, I can just imagine what they were going through, knowing that their child already is considered as dead. Mr. President, the National Children's Hospital, a health facility for the poorest and weakest, is in dire need of our help. Kung paano naghihingalo ang mga pasyente doon, gayon din ang paghihingalo ng pasilidad at sitwasyon ng National Children's Hospital. Una, kulang na kulang po sila sa manpower. They could not handle the amount of patients that comes to them. In fact, listen to this, there is a 3-year waiting time. Ulitin ko po, excuse me. 3-year waiting time for some of the therapies being offered to the patients, PT, OT at speech therapy. 3 years, 3 taon. Isa pong buong cycle po yan ng Kongreso. 3 taon maghintay ang isang pasyente bago siya makatikim ng therapy dito po sa National Children's Hospital. Lubos po akong humahanga sa mga doktor ng National Children's Hospital, maging sa mga nurses doon, dahil sila po ay may tuturing na tunay na mga bayani. They give more than what they are paid for, and their salaries are way below industry level. Ang 2 buwan na sweldo ng mga PT at pampublikong ospital ay kinikita lamang po nila sa 2 linggo sa private practice. Nobody wants to work in the National Children's Hospital because, of course, there are better opportunities out there. Pero dahil sa pagmamahal at malasakit sa mga bata at pamilya doon, ang mga frontliners ng NCH ay natitiis. It is true patriotism at work. Second, the facilities are also below standard. The building is dilapidated. Ang mga pagtakip nila sa bintana ay plywood. Basag-basag po yung mga bintana at plywood po ang pantakip. Pwedeng pasukin ng alikabok, usok at lamok. Ang napakainit po ng mga kwarto.
walang tamang ventilation. Imbis na gumaling ang mga bata, mas lalo pa sila magkakasakit. Excuse me po. Excuse me, Mr. President. The equipment that they have are outdated and lacking. What kind of parents are we to these children? Their therapy rooms are very small. Just imagine po, kung nakikita niyo po, yan. Halos kalahati lang po yan ng public CR po natin dito sa Senado. How can several children have adequate therapy if they are cramped? According to the doctors there, ideally, the entire floor should be for therapy. But they're reduced to that one room for all patients. So instead of getting therapy 2 to 3 times a week at the hospital, the parents are just instructed to continue the therapy at home. Ang nangyari, do it yourself. Ang medical attention na nabibigay sa mga bata. Mr. President, the situation of the National Children's Hospital when I visited them before I became a senator has not improved. Lalong lumala pa po. I'm wondering what has happened to their budget. Their budget has increased, but is it being spent well? Will it be spent well? I want to know that we are watching what they will do with the budget of the National Children's Hospital. Actually, hindi naman po talaga nag-increase ang budget ng National Children's Hospital. On the other hand, I would like to commend the Philippine Children's Medical Center for the service that they are giving the children. There is even an ongoing construction to expand the facilities. I salute the management of PCMC. They're on the right track. And so I would like to highlight the stark contrast between the two hospitals. The fact that PCMC is doing a good job, there's something wrong with the system of the National Children's Hospital. Actually, there's nothing wrong with the system at the National Children's Hospital. What is wrong is the way the government handles this hospital, the way that the kind of help this hospital is being treated, the way the kind of help that they must receive from the government. I think that's what the problem is. I would like to call on the DOH to strengthen the education of parents, particularly mothers, when it comes to parental and pregnancy health care. Bilang kulang po tayo sa resources upang maalagaan ang mga batang may sakit at top priority would be prevention. We should double the information campaign for mothers regarding their lifestyle and diet when pregnant to prevent ailments caused by poor health during pregnancy. Ang laking pera po matitipid ng mga Pilipino kung ang mga sakit ng mga kabataan ay mapipigilan. And I would like to echo the advocacy of our dear Senator Pia Cayetano for breastfeeding. This is the number one defense of our children against sickness because it is the best source of immunization for the newborn. While we have programs already for breastfeeding education, we must make sure that illness are implemented in the barangay level para makarating talaga sa ating mga nanay pati sa mga tatay na nag-aalalay sa ating mga breastfeeding mothers. At bago po ako magtapos ng aking talumpati, pagdating po sa period of amendments, I will request na bawasan po ang budget ng DNR na meron pong 12 billion pesos ang Office of the Secretary at 2 billion doon akin pong ilalakat at ilalaban na may transfer po sa Philippine National Children's Hospital na mas nangangailangan ng tulong. Sana po ang ating mga taga DOH, ang ating mga taga DBM, at maging ang ating mga otoridad, my esteemed colleagues in Congress and Senate, I invite you to visit this hospital. Dahil, nung makausap ko po sila, wala raw pong nagbibisita sa kanila ng mga opisyal ng gobyerno. Marami na pong bumibisita sa Philippine Children Medical Center. Marami pong sumusuporta doon. As a matter of fact, I was told na recently they received 100 million pesos assistance fund from the government. Meron silang malasakit center. In fact, my brother, Secretary Erwin Tulfo, before he became secretary, nag-donate ng 4 million pesos. Marami po mga donor ang PCMC, which I really appreciate. Pero sa National Children's Hospital, wala. Ilang secretary na po ang nagpalit-palit sa ating gobyerno, ni isang DOH secretary, wala raw pong pumunta roon para bumisita. Para makita sana nila ang tunay na kalagayan ng mga pasyente doon. Wala raw pong bumibisita mga taga-gobyerno. Dahil ba ito isang maliit lamang na ospital? Dahil ba ang pupunta rito mga anak ng mga pinakamahirap na tao sa Pilipinas, the poorest of the poor? I challenge the DOH, the DBM, and all my esteemed colleagues. Sana po, kung meron kayong panahon, bisitahin niyo po para makita niyo naman po kung gaano kalunos-lunos ang kalagayan ng mga pasyente doon. Like I already said sa speech ko kanina, hindi ko po kinaya, halos mapayak po ako nung pumasok po ako sa isang ward and I saw this kid, 6 years old, dying, already sentenced to death, stage 4 cancer. Kaawa po. At makikita ko po yung dingding nila, butas-butas, tumutulo, ang bintana, God. Basag ang bintana at ang ipinagpalit sa halip na papalitan ng salamin, plywood po ang ipinalit. At yung ibang bintana na talaga hindi na maremedyohan, nilagyan po ng kurtina, na kurtina pinaglipasan ng panahon na hindi pa napaglabhan. Ganun po kawa-awa yung National Children's Hospital. That's why inuulit ko po, ipaglalaban ko po na bawasan ang budget ng DNR na para sa akin maraming pagkukulang. 10 billion para sa Office of the Secretary and 2 billion support for the operation. Another 2 billion which is 12 billion. So 2 billion po ang dapat mabawas sa DNR at yan po ay may transfer sa National Children's Hospital na mas nangangailangan po ng tulong dahil dito po yung mga inosenteng anghel ang dapat nating matulungan sa perang yan. And I call upon my colleagues here in the Senate to please support me with this advocacy that I have now na para mabudgetan po itong National Children's Hospital. I thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Tulfo. Session suspended.
Session.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we refer the speech of Senator Rafi Tulfo to the Committees on Health and Demography as primary committee and Committee on Women, Children, Family Relations, and Gender Equality as the secondary committee. I so move, Mr. President.
There being no objection, the motion is approved.
Thank you, Mr. President. Some admin matters, Mr. President. Mr. President, with the unanimous consent of the body, I move to transfer the committee referral of privileged speech of Senator Risa Ontiveros on trafficking earlier, Mr. President, from the Committee on Rules to the Committee on Women, Children, Family Relations, and Gender Equality as primary committee, Committee on Migrant Workers as secondary committee, and Committee on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs as tertiary committee. I so move, Mr. President.
There being no objection, the motion is approved.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, pursuant to Section 10 of the Rules of the Senate and upon the instruction of the Chairperson of the Committee on Health and Demography, Senator Christopher Lawrence Go, may I just manifest for the record the creation of Subcommittee on Medical Cannabis with Senator Robin Hood Padilla as chairperson. The subcommittee shall tackle Senate Bill number 230, the Medical Cannabis Compassionate Access Act of the Philippines, and such other bills which may be referred to the Committee on Health and Demography covering the same topic. I so manifest, Mr. President.
There being no objection, manifestation is noted.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, with the consent of the body, I move to transfer the primary referral of Senate Bill number 236. This is the Mandatory Reserve Officers Training Course Act from Committee on Basic Education to Committee on Higher Technical and Vocational Education while retaining its secondary referral to Committee on National Defense and Security, Peace, Unification, and Reconciliation. I so move, Mr. President.
There being no objection, motion is approved.
Mr. President, with the consent of the body, I move to transfer the secondary referral of Senate Bill number 230. This is the Medical Cannabis Compassionate Access Act of the Philippines from Committee on Finance to Committee on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs, and to make instead a tertiary referral thereof to Committee on Finance while retaining its primary referral to Committee on Health and Demography. I so move, Mr. President.
There being no objection, motion is approved.
Mr. President, I move for a minute suspension.
Session suspended.
Yes, Mr. President.
Okay. Session resumed.
Mr. President, can I move for a minute suspension? Sorry.
Oh, session suspended.
have a reservation to deliver a privilege speech, but we can do it tomorrow. Actually, I'll just mention it, but maybe I'll give more details. It's just about the fake registration being required for the e-card. The e-card upon arrival. It was mentioned briefly during the DOT hearing when you're on your way back when you're traveling to the Philippines, Your Honors. There will be an announcement in the plane na be sure your e-card is ready. And if you check the requirements, I don't know if the airline send you this reminder. So it happened to my daughters who were coming home from the US. So she Googled e-card to be sure that her, ano yung isang natin, the something pass, the one health pass and e-card. She just wanted to know, is it the same thing? Does she have what she needs? Then it brings her to this site. She clicks on it and it's asking her to pay $70. So it's not new because, as I said, it was briefly taken up. But it's $70. So meanwhile, sasakay na siya ng plane, kinakabahan na siya na magbabayad ba ako ng $70? Mr. President, ilan ang OFW, mga turistang excited pumunta, balikbayan, na sa panic na pabayad. Nagtataka naman ako, kaya that's the reason I want to deliver the speech, pero sana makarry na sa news para ma-actionan agad. DOH is on it, pero nandun pa siya when you Google. It's the first, kasi it's a sponsored website, Your Honor. Nauna pa siya sa government. So I was talking to my staff, sabi nila, normally, yung government website ang nauna. Wala akong notes na, dala ko pa bag ko. So I'm just bringing that to the attention to all. Sana media will cover this. Andito lahat ng kasamahan natin. Bothered tayo by that, di ba?
If you can,
Kawawa
if I may, Madam Senator, if you can sponsor the speech and you can give us details tomorrow and
Yeah,
put it in the consciousness of the
Oo.
public, ako ay
Nababahala.
nababahala at nagagalit sa ginagawa nilang $70. When we travel to other countries, wala naman po tayong binabayaran na $70. I think that's
Hindi naman
highway
totoo
robbery, especially for our OFWs.
And hindi nga totoo yun. Walang ganon. Fake site to, Your Honors. Fake site.
Fake site.
O, to be clear. Kaya nga dapat yung speech maayos. To be clear, may fake site na dadalhin ka doon na sinabing, do you have your e-card? Fill up the form and just pay $70. Fake site.
Nako.
Walang ganon ng DOH, walang ganon ng kahit
nahack-
anong ahensya
nahack
ng
yun.
gobyerno. Fake, Your Honor, fake. Tapos yung sinasabi ko nga, I'll show it tomorrow, nakalagay sponsored. It's a sponsored site na fake na nanloloko ng tao. So, balikan din natin yung mga na-review natin na, ano, di ba, yan ang sa akin tatanungin mo ko, yan ang economic sabotage. Wala nang pupunta dito na turista, yung mga OFWs natin di na uuwi, na lukong-loko na sila sa ganun. Again, it's not government. Pero may nanloloko and it's our job to alert all government agencies to stop it. I'll deliver it in more details tomorrow. I don't have much more details because it's really just from the personal experience of my daughter na kinonfirm lahat nung napagkwentuhan namin. And if you Google, anyone here can, ano yun, di ba? Na-take up yan. Sinagot yan ng ating chairman of our vice chairman of finance who was defending the DOT budget na discussion in passing. And then na-discuss ko rin sa mga anak ko the next day. Tomorrow na lang po. Yes, I will show you the screenshot. I will send you. Niloloko talaga yung mga tao, turista. Hindi ko
And
nga
that
alam
is
kung
why,
hindi pa
Madam,
ma-strike down.
Madam Senator, that's why it's best to just let go of that e-card. You know, if you want to ask for the immunization details of a passenger, the Bureau of Immigration can actually ask it from the passport. They'll ask, do you have your, ano ba yan? Yung, card, ano yung card yan? Yung health, yung vaccine card.
Yes.
You have your vaccine, proof of vaccination. Or proof of RT-PCR negative. Parang
Yes,
ganun.
naman yun.
That's all. Either or.
What I don't know, Your Honor, and I'll discuss it in more detail tomorrow, even in my official trip, yung nag-Korea po ako, sinabi ko naman dito sa inyo and a few other trips, nagulat ako na bakit ba may separate cubicle pa nga si hello, hindi kayo friends? Hindi kayo pwede mag-share ng, kasi ako nung pumasok ako doon sa ibang countries, isa lang naman ang nag-check. Hindi na yung may dalawa-dalawa pa. 'Di ba? And yung immigration na yan, a few days after and then months after na wala ng quarantine, tinatatakan pa rin, nangyari sa akin, tinataktakan pa rin yung ano bang ano yun, the boarding, was it the boarding pass pagbalik ko, ng follow the quarantine requirements. Wala ng quarantine nun, may tatak pa rin silang ganun. Kaya parang talagang hindi ko maintindihan. That will be my privilege speech tomorrow. Heads up lang po because nga, dun sa panloloko na sinasabi ko, ingat po ang public, wala hong sumisingil ng kahit ano ang gobyerno sa fill up nyo ng inyong e-card.
Actually,
Tama ba?
even with the customs declaration form,
O, yun nga.
it still says, Your Honors, Madam Senator Pia, even the custom declaration cards, it still says 10,000 pesos. Anything excess of 10,000 pesos, it's supposed to be $10,000. It's 10,000 pesos. So if you're a tourist, what is 10,000 pesos until now? You see it. Oh, so dapat maayos na nila yan lahat. Senator De La Rosa is recognized.
Yeah, Mr. President.
With the permission of Senator.
With the permission of Senator Pia Cayetano. Alam mo yung 10,000 pesos, Mr. President, naging biktima ako niyan. Kasi nung bumiyahe ako sa Taiwan, may dala akong 11,000 pesos. At hinold ako ng immigration. Dahil akala nila, OFW ako, na baka akala nila, construction worker ako ba, na pupunta doon. Hinold
Hindi ka pa
ako.
senador noon, Your Honor.
Hindi pa, kung pala ako, kernel ako noon.
Okay.
Mabuti na lang, kasama ko si Mayor Duterte noon, yung former President Duterte, bumiyaheng Taiwan, sinabihan niya na kasama ko yan. Nung sinabihan na kasama ko yan, pinalusot ako. Hinold talaga ako 10,000 pesos. Ang alam ko, $10,000.
Yes.
But bakit ginawang pesos?
Hindi pa
that
nila
has to be checked.
pinapalitan yung rules nila doon sa 10,000 pesos.
Dahil kawawa yung mga OFW. Pag meron kang pera 10,000, i-hold nila. So ikaw mag-abroad ka na, kanila na yung 10,000 pesos. Wala. I-hold nila. Bawal daw magdala ng in excess of 10,000 pesos.
Pero sa
I-hold
ibang
nila.
bansa, ang kanilang requirement is only $10,000 dollars.
Sabi
So,
ko nga, alam ko $10,000 yan. Bakit 10,000 pesos inuhold nyo ako?
Yeah.
Sabi nila, 10,000 pesos daw.
Mr. President, if I may interject also.
Yes, the majority
Let us just put on record and to make this argument and the debates with more clarity, Mr. President. It's not just the requirement. You are not prohibited to bring more than $10,000. You are not prohibited. Only you need to report, Mr. President, and declare that you have more than 10,000 pesos. So that is the rule of thumb, Mr. President. Unfortunately, in the Philippines, I was told that 10,000 pesos, which is ridiculous, Mr.
It's
President.
absurd.
And absurd.
It's
Thank you,
absurd.
Mr. President.
Absolutely.
Put on record.
So, thank you. So we'll be waiting intently on your speech tomorrow, Madam Senator Cayetano.
Thank you, Mr. Senate President. And maybe at the proper time when the speech is delivered, His Honor can also share the other observations we have on our documentation and reporting requirements because interesting po lahat ito. Thank you very much po.
Thank you very much.
Call now. One more. Mr. President, I also would like to put on record, there was a time I was in Dubai and there were several OFWs crying, Mr. President, because for some reason, the airline company is asking for additional requirement, Mr. President, that is only being asked here in the Philippines, Mr. President. We are asking so many items, not only for this one pass, this vaccination card, etc., etc. So I think it's about time that we call the attention not only of DOT, but other government offices. I mean, this information delivered to us by our colleague, Senator Pia Cayetano, is alarming, Mr. President. And can you imagine how many kababayans natin yung naloloko dahil dito, Mr. President? So we really have to be more vigilant, especially yung ating pong mga ahensya ng pamahalaan.
Actually, in the last administration, dear Majority Floor Leader, there was a convergence between the DOTR, the DOH, and the DOT, if I'm not mistaken. The DOTR, DOH, DOT, and DPWH it's a
Convergence.
convergence for tourism. So they have to start that again. I think the 3 or the 4 departments have to work together again to attract as much tourists as we can. So by streamlining the processes, if not removing as much of the processes as possible, yan ang ease of traveling.
Yes.
My ease of doing business, my ease of traveling.
Thank you, Mr. President.
The
The
minority
minority leader would like to be recognized, Mr. President.
How about the abolition of the travel tax? Oh, ease of traveling, may travel tax, tapos constitutional right pa, tinatax natin. So we might as well also review that, Mr. President.
It will bring down the
First
prices
time-
of our tickets.
Siguro first and only country in the world that you tax the exercise of a constitutional right. So hindi, di ba? Hindi siya naging right.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mr.
thank you.
President.
Thank you.
Mr. President, at this juncture, and with the consent of the body, I move that we adjourn the session until 3 o'clock in the afternoon of Tuesday, November 22, 2022. I so move, Mr. President.
There being no objection to the motion, the session is adjourned until 3 o'clock in the afternoon of Tuesday, November 22, 2022.